Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to our meeting, Utilities Commission meeting today, January 9th, Monday, at 6 p.m., our public commission meeting. I'd like to get this meeting started, bring this meeting to order. Commissioner Thompson, would you say a word of prayer for us?
Yes. Let us all bow our heads and say the Lord's Prayer in unison. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen, Father.
Thank you. Would please stand, place the flag, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item, approval of the agenda. I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as written.
I make the motion that we'll go ahead and approve the agenda for January 9th, 2023.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. All those in favor? Approve the agenda, show of hands. Thank you. Any visitors? We have no visitors today. Approval of the minutes for our regular meeting, November 14th, 2022, and our work session for January 3rd, 2022. 2023, that is.
Motion to approve.
Motion. Motion and second. All those in favor of approval of agenda by show of hands. Thank you. Activity report, December 2022.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As of December 31st, our unreconciled operating account balance was $1,534,785.93. The money market account balance was $6,057,437.93. The accounts receivable total as of December 31st was $2,455,939.32. $497,904.85 of that is more than 4 months past due. 50 accounts were sent to collections totaling $43,055.06. Are there any questions about the financial portion of?
I've got a question.
Yes.
What rate are we currently getting on our money market accounts?
I'm not sure. It's just simple interest, though. I mean, it's no.
Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking, I mean, like very short-term treasuries are yielding over 4.5% right now. And I'm sure, in our bylaws, that these have to be held in money market accounts, but, it may be worth discussion around, looking at what parameters that we have and where is the money markets held? What financial
This one
institution?
is at Synovus.
Synovus. But, and we can add this in for next time, but, our Synovus representative, it may be worth, I'd love to look into what parameters we have if we're going to hold this much cash in this interest rate environment that, our Synovus representative may want to come speak to us and look at some other very short-term holdings. I mean, even rolling two-month treasuries. I mean, they have other very conservative, cash treasury options that may, make a very sizable difference in.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's simple
generation.
interest. I think from last month to this month, it wasn't $300 worth of interest. That was.
Yeah, I think it would, really pay us dividends if we're going to hold this much And of course, that could change overnight and yields go back down, but I think it's worth looking into, does our reserves have to be held in a money market account? Not that we should invest outside of, a very, very, very conservative, type thing, but even like I've just seen some different products out there, treasury laddering and that kind of stuff that's, just buying even short-term treasury 6 and 9 months. I mean, a lot of that stuff's still over. I think the 10-year is below 4, but some of those other, I think 6 months is still over 4.
I mean, if there's something that we can gain from, I agree. Maybe check into that and as well get Charles to see what our legal, I don't want to go to dipping with no money. And,
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about ultra conservative, but I think there's some strategies out there that are ultra conservative and still yield more than money market.
We can certainly look at the vehicles that are out there.
Yeah.
And see
see
what we're
what's
allowed
there,
to
see
do.
what we are, how we are, what's in our bylaws that have us restricted, or if we're restricted from doing
Okay.
anything with that money.
We can look into that and get you some information for the next work session.
Yeah.
That would be something we could look to, try to help ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, for those of you that weren't here last for the work session, the customer service manager, Ms. Erin Anderson, she's going to present the customer service report. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
During the month of December, metering closed 656 service requests. They completed 3,358 Tantalus system reads and completed 194 billing rereads for the month of December. Customer service processed 5,472 payments. Approximately 29% of the payments were made via check. 25% were made via credit card. 26 were made online. A total of 515 customers used the electronic draft, and we processed a total of 1,441 drive-through transactions. Are there any questions in regards to customer service?
Any questions? I have one question, and Crystal, you might need to chime on this. When we get our rereads, the ones that are kicked back from the system, are they like instantaneously? Like, if I go by, and then it tells that we need to reread? Or is it, as opposed to a customer calling in that will probably be, 30 days behind the billing, the actual read?
No, most of our rereads are triggered by billing. Once our billing specialist gets the meter reads from the metering department, she'll request a reread, and most of the time that's based off of high usage.
So when the equipment's downloaded.
Right. I know should be a gap between when we do our thing and a reread is done, as opposed to a customer calling in. It shouldn't be like,
No, it's only a few days. It's a few days that she'll request that.
All right. Thank you.
Any
Other questions for Ms. Erin?
So we didn't have any returns or bounce checks or anything? I'm still reading, so.
Return checks.
Oh, I see return bank drafts,
And it's rare that
4,
that happens, so.
and return checks were 2. That's pretty low, that's good.
And that's pretty consistent for the month. A lot of those, if we do get them, the bank automatically deposit them, and so they have to be returned twice before they actually hit our account as a chargeback.
I'm sorry, I got one more question. Before we get too far away, I meant to ask it after the money market stuff. Can we just get a real brief update on that greater than 4 months AR balance? Is there anything that we feel like is uncollectible, or have we charged off any additional? I just get sort of where we are in terms of past due stuff and what percentage do we feel like we're going to collect $497? Do we know we're not going to collect it? Do we?
What happens is our policy is after 4 months, and it's on our account, we actually send it to collections.
Yeah.
So, once we transfer that over, it goes to our vendor that we use is ABC, and they take on collection from there. So we do get payments from them every month based off, and we have to pay them a percentage, of course, because we don't do any of that in-house.
It's still like 10%, correct, that they receive?
I think it is about 10%, yes, that they receive of the balance that's due, that they collect.
10%.
Yes.
Just
it's
for
a
my
little
own
lower.
understanding.
I think
but-
it's a little higher than that. I think it's a little higher than that. We can get you the exact number.
Yeah, I can get you the exact number.
But if in normal, so if it goes to them, have they been shut off?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
In 100%
Yes.
of situations that it goes to collections?
Yes.
They have already been, that account has been closed?
Yes, for instance, the 50 accounts that were sent to collections in December, they've been off since July of 2022. Like, the account has been inactive, disconnected since July of 2022.
Do we have any stuff, how much more stuff do we have that's old but hasn't been shut off?
We don't have any accounts that are just, since you ended the moratorium, we've been doing shut-offs, disconnections, so
But we're pretty much caught up now.
I wouldn't necessarily say we're caught up.
We're a lot closer.
And none of these people tried to do a payment arrangement?
No, we offer payment arrangements, and
called them
there
as
is no forwarding account. They didn't open up new, they just either moved out of the county or we don't know what happened to them.
Do y'all understand?
We have no way of transferring that balance to an active account.
So my question is, once it gets sent to collections, are we charging that off, or is it staying in AR? You see what I'm saying? I know we have our.
It just switches to a different account. It
Yeah.
becomes basically uncollectible or a bad debt account.
Yeah.
So anything we get towards it is great. If we don't, we've already essentially written it off.
But that's what I'm saying. So when it goes to collections,
It's bad debt to us.
we're expensing that as it goes to collections.
That is correct.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
it rolled off.
So this isn't on the 497 is not on our balance sheet as AR, right?
It's on there as bad debt or uncollectibles, but it's not on there as in accounts receivable, no.
But that would still be an asset though, right?
Yes. But we only recognize what we actually receive.
It goes to be written off once it's as a bad debt. It's something we can write off, and we can use it against there. But it's still an uncollected. It was an uncollected
Which
asset.
account does it go in?
Well, you're recognizing it as revenue in AR when it comes in, when we bill.
When we bill it, yes.
Right, so now you have an asset. And then we're expensing it as it goes to collection, or we're just swapping asset accounts?
Yeah, you're just swapping account numbers. It's basically
Swapping.
a journal entry that's
Yeah.
made that takes it from AR to uncollectible bad debts.
Yeah, but we're still holding that as an asset on our balance
Yeah,
sheet.
it's on there, but it's essentially it's not an asset because we're writing it off as uncollectible.
But once something that becomes uncollectible, then generally you would expense it and take it off your,
So it's not on our accounts receivable, no.
yeah.
I get where you're getting at.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
I don't want to get into your,
And basically what happens.
as long as the
You want to know
auditors
which
are good
parts,
with
you
it,
can tell the
but I feel
difference.
like,
So we do an allowance for bad debt,
Yeah.
an adjustment every month. And basically what we do is adjust it back out. Whatever we receive, we adjust it back out to where it would have been on our AR, on our balance sheet, if it had been paid to us.
okay. So we're taking it, once that they sort of close it or
Yes.
deem it gone, then we're writing it off.
I have a question. The account receivable current, I mean, none of that's behind, that's just what people owe.
That is just currently what people owe. It's not
Okay.
past due,
So
no.
there's nothing magical about keeping these these late fees 4 months. I mean, theoretically, after 1 month, you could stop right there. I don't understand why we have 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and 4 months. If someone hasn't paid after 2 months, it seems like to me you'll just send it to collection then. I mean, I don't know where this 4 months came in.
That came in during COVID, when we weren't collecting.
Well,
And that was a formula that Kathy had put on there, and we were using it for how far people were getting behind.
but it doesn't seem to make any sense now. Either it's due on the due date, if not, then, you want to give someone maybe a month to make some agreement to pay it, but after that, just to keep this going 3 months and 4 months and send it, whatever's easiest for you, I mean, the dollars aren't.
And I understand, but it's a transition. Once you guys went so long without disconnecting, it's just a transition. If we disconnected everybody that got a month behind or 2 months behind, that would be a ton of disconnections. So we really only, try to get the most egregious accounts and take care of those. Just because you don't want to disconnect, you can't disconnect everybody.
Well, is there a way that we can use the collar post to inform these people on these accounts, the ones, not the 50, because we know that already been said, but the others that are getting deeper in debt to the point that they will be getting to that point that they're going to be shut out, that they need to, it need to be specific, that they come in, do a payment arrangement, stick to it, so therefore they utilities, because this is ridiculous. For these 50 accounts not to be active since July, we don't need to run into that again with these other accounts. And whatever else that's possible, then they need to see whatever they can do, but they need to pay whatever current bill plus whatever they are able to pay. Don't say you're gonna be able to pay, $200-300 on your back pay. You're not gonna be able to do that. Whatever that's necessary. So.
And that's what we've been doing. We'll try to set it, as low as we can, and say if we have a balance, and we say, hey, we're gonna reassess this in 6 months or so, because we may need to make some adjustments. But that's essentially what we've been doing.
Because I see pretty much the arrangements that y'all have done doing good, but you got 6 that has, I guess, declined as far as with holding up to their agreement. So you all can help people that want to help themselves, I should say.
I have one more comment.
Yes.
This is not a proposal, it's just observation. For years, I was a Georgia Power customer at Mobile Home Place outside of Cordele. Georgia Power would send me a bill. The day I got it, it was due 14 days later. If it wasn't paid 14 days later, then they tacked on a penalty. If it wasn't paid, 2 or 3 weeks after that, you were cut off, and you would not be cut back on until that debt was taken care of. I just have angst with the fact that we give 31 days pay a due date, which is unheard of in reality. Actually, someone uses our utilities for a month. We read the meters, and it takes, a couple of weeks to convert that usage to a billable rate, and then the bills are prepared, and then the bills sent out. So a customer has used utilities 31 days, and they don't get a bill for that for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they have 31 days to pay it, at which time they've received another bill. It just gets so convoluted, it's just unmanageable. And, then contributing to all that, we give everybody, in effect, 4 months before they're cut off. Well, I guess 3 months before they're cut off, and then it's sent to to collect.
Well,
It's not 4 months
we're not
before
giving
they cut
people,
off.
we're not
You're not
giving
giving
people.
them that much time.
Yeah, we're,
That's-
It's 4 months until we send it to collection.
We're giving them 31 days.
Yes, oh, absolutely. Oh.
And our policy is, and it's stated on the bill, if it's not paid by the date, they are subject to disconnection the very following business day. But, and we're trying to work up to that, but it's just, again, it's hard to kind of, to get back into how often we should be disconnecting when,
I'm not proposing a shorter time.
No.
I wouldn't be opposed to it either.
No, my question was making sure that 1,000% of the ones over 4 months were cut off, for sure.
yes, they're all.
But they're
all
being,
disconnected.
they're being shut off after 1 month, is that correct? Well, hold on, but we're behind because we didn't cut off anybody for 2 years or whatever the number.
Well, I won't argue that. I think this 4 months has been in place a lot longer than COVID came and went.
Yeah, it has. But again, that's
It was
just,
done as a service to our customers.
yeah, but again, that's just sending it to collections. That's not necessarily cutting them off because they've already been cut off for 4 months. That's just sending the account to collections. Now, we could send it sooner, but we have had instances where customers have come in and they moved back to the county. They realized, you know, they've been informed that yes, there was maybe a final bill and they paid it and it's been no issue. But the number of people that do that, I don't have that data.
Probably not many.
I would imagine it's not many.
I mean, everybody that leaves town owing a bill know they've left town owing a bill. I mean, I would think so. But
Once it
anyway,
goes to collections, it is on their credit report, so
Yes.
if they, I mean, they are,
Well, they didn't pay them bill if they didn't retrieve their deposit back after a certain amount of days, so, I mean,
Yeah, well, again, those are accounts where the deposit has already been applied to whatever the balance was.
Right,
This
right.
is just whatever is left.
Yeah, when the account's closed, the deposit is applied to the
So
balance.
they don't get anything back.
right.
And then it does sit like that while everything's shut off before it's turned to collections.
but yeah, I don't disagree with Ned. I mean, even my water bill, I live in Crawford County, they're ready to come cut that sucker. I mean, I've had it cut off, because they do a little postcard, so if you lose the postcard, you are just
Yeah.
That's
done
the-
for. If that falls out of my truck when I get my mail, which has happened before, but there ain't much time. It's less than a week. They're going. But,
When you have one utility and one meter, it's one
no,
thing.
100%.
As soon as you
Yeah.
get to have 3 meters and then a percentage for the other one, and then you're also collecting for the waste.
But I think once
And
we,
I don't have no idea
but,
where the.
And the billing cycles don't always,
well, I mean, that may be one thing. Once we are caught up and feel like we're in a good place, maybe we could look at the billing cycle workflow of the timing, how y'all sort of piece it together. Probably a little too soon, but, and just look at the timing between,
Well, when we have several $100,000 we write off, somebody's paid for those utilities. I mean, MEAG doesn't say, oh, you're gonna write it off. We'll just-
Every customer
we'll
that is
forgive
paying
you.
their bill paid for those utilities.
So somebody's paid for it, and that somebody's the rest of the ratepayers who are having to pay higher rates than they would otherwise because we have hundreds of thousands of dollars that we've paid the wholesale cost on,
Yeah.
or we funded the water plants and wastewater plants, expensed all that effort they put into it, and then when people just walk off leaving a debt, it just kind of sticks in my craw when someone says, well, you utility just write it off. No, we don't write it off. We have to pay for it. We, the utility commission, pays for it. Yeah, well, and I'm sorry, the other ratepayers pay for it, and conceivably larger rates. If we had right away, if we didn't have $500,000 at 4 months, we could reduce our rates for $500,000, theoretically. I mean, I'm not talking reality, I guess, but still, that's the fact. Most people don't understand that
Well, we gonna hope.
everything all of our gas and all of our electricity is paid for by the ratepayers. Amen, brother. Go ahead, sir.
So are these account still exceeds, I guess, over 5,000 and higher.
You mean as far as what we're sending to collections? It's $15. $15 is the threshold. Anything below $15 is sent to collections.
Any other questions?
Is that entire balance going to get transferred over to collections?
The entire.
The entire almost $500,000, is that going to get transferred over to collections?
If we don't collect it, it will.
It's going to be a busy month for
It
somebody.
will. It sure will.
Well, I hope they collect so we can get a
Yeah,
little bit back.
if we don't get any of it, if we don't get it in.
Wow.
Any other questions? Discussion?
Now, some of those, to clarify, some of those are all, everything that's on the account for accounts receivable. That's not necessarily inactive accounts. So that is active and inactive accounts because we do have a lot of accounts that are more than 4 months past due.
Wait a minute. I thought everything at the four.
If they have payment arrangements and
If they
things,
have
they're
payment
catching up.
arrangements.
The ones that are having payment arrangements and are catching it
If
back
they have
up.
active accounts,
Oh, the 497
It-
has everything in
it
it.
has everything
Everything.
in it.
But everything
Everything.
greater than 4 months that doesn't have a payment arrangement
And is
is,
inactive.
is it in,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so of the 497,000, how much is getting transferred over to
I
collections?
don't have that
Oh,
number
okay.
for you. We won't know until we actually run the collection packet. So once we run it, it tells us which accounts have been inactive for a certain, we set the parameters for a date, tells us how many accounts are inactivated. The customer service manager will go through those accounts to manually exclude some that if they have active payment arrangements, if the account holder is deceased, if they have an active account that maybe when they started a new service, it wasn't transferred. So we'll manually go through those. And then once that's done, we'll get a number of actual accounts that we can send to collections. But I have
There's a lot more detail behind this one.
we keep those on a
There's a lot of
spreadsheet as
lines.
well, actually, the number of accounts, what the services were as far as if it was electricity, if it was for water, if it was for gas. So if you want some additional information, I can get that to you.
If we can go through it at the work session or whatever, just,
Have a better discussion. Kick it
discussion.
around and
Yeah.
Okay.
pull the thread out of the skirt and see what happens.
When Georgia's not going to be playing.
Right.
Right. All right.
Well, we'll let her prepare and summarize something versus
Yes.
just peppering her all night. I'm
Isn't
sure
this
she
fun,
enjoys it, but.
Well, till 7, then that's enough of that.
Any other questions? Any other discussion for our financial personnel? Thank
So
you.
just so I'm clear, you guys would like a more detailed summary of our bad debt?
I
and
think
what we're
so,
seeking
just
collections?
what's in AR, I'd just like a detail of what makes up, or, whatever's in, I guess you'd have to summarize, it'd be hard to look through your entire AR aging and get any kind of information, but just somewhat of a summary of what's
Of like
in your
an active
aging.
accounts and inactive accounts. and
Active,
you'd like
inactive,
those.
what's in thing, and then our bad debt,
Okay.
or what's been sort of written off but not written off, I guess.
All right. Okay.
And I'd be curious, I know we have like a reserve, but like, I'm curious what we've reserved for versus like, at some point you've got to say like, we are not getting this money and it is like charged off, right?
Yes.
I'd
Yes.
just be curious what we charged off last year.
Okay.
Because I'm sure y'all trued up that reserve at the end of the year with the auditors or whatnot. I'd just be curious, like what, I think the ratepayers, that's what we're doing here. They ought to know, hey, how much, was lost, essentially.
Because essentially what happens every month, that we do a journal entry for the allowance. And then once this is sent to collections, and we collect something back, we do a journal entry just to record, to basically journal entry it from an allowance to back to AR. And
Because when you make your reserve each month, is that based on like, it's
based
a
off-
percentage?
it's
Or is it
off
based
of
on
what was-
actual?
It's based off the actual from the prior year, so it's an estimate.
Yes, an estimate, yeah. But I would imagine it was behind from the year before, right? Because it was
Yes,
based on.
because we didn't-
And then so we had a
weren't
bigger
doing
charge in December when we trued it up?
I'm sorry.
Was there like a bigger charge off in December when we trued it up? Because we probably under reserved through the year, right?
It's through the fiscal year.
Or, okay,
Yeah.
well, in September, I guess they trued it up.
Yes.
Okay, I hate to keep dwelling on this. Okay, down in collections, we have 50 accounts sitting in collections at 43,000 value. Is that correct?
We have more than 50 accounts,
That
but this
was-
is just what we sent to collections the month of December. We sent
Okay.
50 accounts to collections, and that's how much those 50 accounts totaled. It was
So
$43,000.
if we have almost 500,000 at the 4+ months, would that 500,000 be down in collections after 4 months?
No, like I was saying, that is just what we have for accounts receivables. So that could be inactive and active accounts. So the accounts that were sent to collections last month, they have been inactive since July of 2022. So the accounts that will be sent to collections this month will have to have been inactive since August of 2022. It just rolls to the next month. And so they will have been inactive for 4 months. So that 497 includes active and inactive accounts, because we do have some customers that their services are still active, but they are behind 4 months or more.
I'll give up.
But they have a payment plan.
Yeah, but they have a payment plan and they're paying currently on their accounts.
So
We
some of those
we try
are-
not to disconnect anyone that is at least trying to pay their bill. Now, you have customers that aren't paying anything, but those are the ones we
So
try to
the plus
disconnect.
497 and the plus 4 months, a lot of those or some of those
The majority of those
have
are
a
probably
plan
going
in
to be
place to
active
pay it.
accounts.
If they have a plan in place, they're also still active.
Yes.
You got to remember now, since 3 of them already got arrangement. Next page.
I think we need to really get in the weeds on this and get pretty deep and try to streamline this somehow, make it more efficient. Maybe it's just my ignorance on financial matters, but it just, on the surface, it seems.
Well, that's down from, I'd have to pull up
I mean, it's
on my
definitely
phone.
down.
It's down from
It's
like.
way down.
Yeah.
It's down 1.5 million, Ned. They worked
At one point.
I mean, either.
I'm happy to see these
Gone to-
number like this.
It is definitely
We're,
decreasing.
we're getting in the right direction, and we're getting through it without just shutting everybody
Yeah.
off.
And you also have to understand, a lot of these aren't just residential. Some of them are businesses as well. They're commercials, properties
I
that,
figured,
yeah.
won't call names, but I figured.
And commercial can have rather large bills.
Yes.
Call the bank like I-
Anything else?
Okay, we finished with
Anything else? Any more
Friday.
discussion? Thank you. Moving on to our next
Thank
item.
you.
Thank you.
Operations overview.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
The electric department, we responded to 56 locates requests, completed 39 hyperweb work orders, repaired 26 streetlights, along with 2 high-mast lights downtown, installed 1 new span of overhead line across Peach Parkway, had 2 small substation blinks, had 1 large outage that included the downtown circuit for about 48 minutes on a Friday that some folks were and Dollar General and couldn't operate through Dollar General. The electric department also had a DOT reflagging class. Electric department sat through trenching safety class, assisted the city with taking down Christmas decorations, and repaired 2 underground faults in the Ventura Trailer Park. Telecommunications had 22 locates, 15 work orders complete. Of those 15 work orders, 12 were fiber repairs, and 3 were uninstalled services. Started working on the fiber bend issue going down Highway 96, and assisted the electric and gas crews on multiple repairs and projects. The gas department had 11 external corrosion control readings, 10 odorization readings. We completed our yearly regulator station inspections, attended trenching and flagging classes. We fixed all the leaks from the 2021 leak survey. 27 work orders were completed, including 17 leak investigations, 2 change meters, 2 low pressure calls, 3 inspect maintenance of pipe valves, 1 insert service, and 2 miscellaneous gas requests. Also, we had 114 locates. Any questions concerning the electric, gas, or telecom departments?
The third entry from the bottom on the electric department. The electric department sat through trench safety class.
Yes, sir.
That's a strange verb to put in there. They just sat through it. It almost sounded like they boringly were present.
No, sir.
Maybe they attended it.
They attended it, yes. I will work with our electric foreman about his grammar choices.
I just thought that was amusing.
You'll notice that the gas department did attend it.
Did attend. Any other questions for operations?
How are we on our operating qualifications in the gas department?
We're still continuing to work on it. We're up to date. Everybody's up to date, good to go.
Okay.
We have a Lynn Buckton with SAP Engineering comes in every Friday and does OQ qualifications for us.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
For the water department, we repaired 13 service leaks, installed 6 new meters, and processed 108 locates. They attended the trench safety class, along with wastewater. It was a heavily participated in event with a lot of feedback. There was also a dock training class that was also attended. We pumped 65.7 million gallons of water. The wastewater pressure cleaned 4,000 feet of sewer main, repaired 1 lateral due to roots, answered 6 sewer backup calls, and helped the water crew repair 5 leaks. They also was in the confined space, trench safety, and flagging. They completed 58 locates in the system, recorded 2.35 inches of rain in the month of December, and the monthly flow was 34.3 million gallons. They also, both the water department and the sewer department, gave a tour for our future leaders from the high schools. And they put together.
I've got a comment. On the water department, pumped almost 66 million gallons of water. Monthly flow to the wastewater plant was 34 million. That's about 55 or 57%, which is really, really low. Normally, it's around 70% of the water pumped is returned to us as sewage. Isn't that about right? I mean, that big disparity there would indicate a couple of things. One,
A tremendous amount of water leaks from freezing breaks, including a fire line that broke and flooded a building.
Yeah, but this was for December. We didn't have freezing weather then. I'm just saying.
You know, we did have a number of leaks. It's been one of our heavier, large leaks. We've had some.
We don't have any construction crews using water from the hydrants, do we?
Not that I'm aware of at this time. That does come up now and then.
It was just obvious that such a low amount of water came back to the sewer plant from the amount of water being pumped. But I'll take your water pipe freezing scenario.
Well, The real cold dates haven't been billed yet, so we are going to face that.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, is the unaccounted for water, what does that look like? When we started looking at this disparity.
The unaccounted water is going to be very high for this next month. Just with that fire line alone breaking and with how much, I'm not going to bring the mayor into this. I'm not even going to mention that he knows anything about it. I'm going to stay away from that. But no, we had a number of freezing breaks, and we had a number of breaks in and around meters, and several meters that lost their plastic bottom
You
plates.
had a main water break, didn't you, somewhere?
Yes, sir.
That's where a lot of that water went.
Yeah.
I rode down Highway 49, I don't know, a week or so ago, and where they were putting that sewer line in at the truck stop. I just glanced by and looked at it as I went by. I don't think I've ever seen a sewer line that deep. It was a gigantic trench they were digging across the parking lot, across the field, whatever that little truck place is called.
I believe the bottom of that pipe is 14.5.
Yeah, man, it was deep. So it must be.
In the very back, in the very, when,
I was going to say, the lift station is going to the back behind the credit union back there. It must be really deep.
when it moved to the next property, the property dropped off. It was 5 feet shallower where we couldn't get the easement, and just by moving 10 feet further, the bottom of the manhole was 1.5 feet above grade. The only way to fix that is they put the whole thing 5 feet deeper. And so it is a deep sewer line.
I bet that guy with the truck place was surprised when he came to work and saw that mountain of red clay running down the middle of his place.
It got cleaned up and it got packed back in quickly. It got put back quickly because that was, Mr. Bass was very specific on that.
Any other questions? Any other discussion with Mr. Walker? Thank you, sir.
Real quick, Clay, is any updates on new proposals, inputs? I mean, it's been it was a flurry of activity through about the midpoint of the year. I know some stuff you can't discuss, but maybe a sentiment or what's that?
It's been very, very active.
Very active.
Very active.
Okay. What about, we just hadn't discussed it in a while, wastewater plant, we had done a grant proposal at one point.
And we're getting back to that again.
Okay.
Because there is a flurry of activity.
Okay.
And there should be the groundbreaking for a hotel this next month.
For what?
A hotel
Where's that?
that's up on Highway 75 and 96.
75 and 96. What corner is that going to be on?
Northwest.
This is where this really drops off really deep there, doesn't it?
Interesting piece of property.
That's going to be a hotel?
It's supposed to be a hotel, restaurant, gas station, 60 room.
All that's our
All
service
services are ours and all services are on the property.
I just, years ago, a lot of people don't know this, and I think it should be known, when we were developing a new service delivery strategy, us and Byron and Houston County was involved in it too. But the ultimate or the final agreement was that Byron / Warner Robins would own the Highway 247 connector utilities there. We would have control of, and everybody agreed that Fort Valley Utility Commission would have Russell Parkway and Highway 96 as ours to provide utilities to. So in case any of our friends start wanting to lay pipe there, just keep them at bay.
Yes, sir.
That was the agreement that has since sometimes been
Sidetracked.
amended or sidetracked. Thank you, that's a good
Yes.
word. But it shouldn't have happened.
No, it shouldn't have. I'm a full believer it shouldn't have.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Walker. Old business, States we have none. On to new business. Item A, award bid for half-ton pickup truck.
Yes, sir. The electric department put in their budget for this year for a half-ton pickup truck. We have found a 2023 Dodge 1500 pickup for $35,756 to Woody Folsom Chrysler Dodge, and we're requesting the commission award the bid to Woody Folsom Chrysler Dodge.
Go ahead and make that motion. Go ahead and.
Have a motion for a second to award the bid for the half-ton pickup truck.
Second.
Second. All those in favor by show of hands. All right. That's what's on it.
That's number one.
That's number one. All right.
Every time trying to give me one that is cheaper. We'll do that one too.
We always try to get as cheap as possible.
They lucky to get that truck.
We're lucky to get this one.
That's what we talked about. Buy me one too. I need one for the farm. You won't sell me one that cheap.
No.
Next item we have up for award would be requesting the commission to award bid to the Terex Incorporated for the bucket truck for $295,603. This was also improved in the capital budget for this year as well.
Okay, I'll take that motion to go ahead and award this bid.
All right. Have a motion on the floor. The second.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor by show of hands.
Either one.
Lee
He can have
second
that. He can have
and
that.
Jones motion did the motion. Jones did the motion and Dickey did the second.
That's what I'm talking
One of them.
about.
Give that one to Steve. Steve hadn't got a second yet. Give that one to Steve. now.
I didn't hear Steve.
Yeah, give it to me, I'll take it.
All right, next item, item C.
And finally, we're requesting the commission award the bid to CNH Pipeline for the Forest Drive main replacement program, or the DEMP program, for $133,745. This was also approved for our capital budget in last year's budget.
All right, looking for a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. West, second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Watson. All those in favor by show of hands. Thank you.
Thank you,
While we're
sir.
still on new business, I'm curious, have y'all, not to create anything, but, you know, like we're talking about, at least with the bucket truck, is there any hard to obtain assets that may be out of commission in the next 18 to 36 months that may need to be ordered now? Has anybody sort of, I mean,
We're
I
gonna
guess
need
you all know your own
Jetta.
departments fairly well, but I didn't know if somebody's gone through that exercise that,
We have gone through that.
Yeah.
And we have looked at jetter trucks. And a jetter truck's $500,000.
Day-to-day operations, there is a backlog on distribution transformers for the electric department. They are in severe backlog, and it's a nationwide issue. We put them on order as quick as we can get them in. We've also gone back to the rebuild option as well, trying to make sure we have enough to make it through in case we have a significant event. And we currently feel like we're okay. We can handle one significant event. If we had a second one, we may be robbing Peter to pay Paul to just try to find somebody who's got them.
And some of the efficiency standards have been let down because of the inability to buy the real efficient ones, and they're letting us rebuild the less efficient ones simply because it's that or nothing.
APPA actually will have a whole discussion on this in Savannah later in March.
yeah, is anybody, I mean, who would do something about, I mean, I mean, I'm sure some of these larger places are raising flags about it, right? I mean, at some point, the
APPA has already petitioned Congress about this issue. For example, during hurricane season, Florida was raising Cain about this whole issue. Luckily, they only had one event really to hit Florida hard. If they had two, Florida didn't know what they were going to do. It's in the manufacturing process. It's not necessarily in the distribution from the wholesalers to us. It's all based in manufacturing process. Manufacturers have yet to give a significant answer why they can't produce at the level they were producing prior to COVID.
Pre-COVID.
They aren't spec building, they're only building to order now.
That's what it seems like, but they're not. They've not come out and said that, of course. They're just, but no, if you go to the Gresco yard, for example, there in Smar, go out the road, you'll see racks and racks where they used to have transformers. They're all empty. Waiting for more transformers to come in so they can sell them.
Waiting for what?
Transformers. Some underground transformers, I do believe we have a 36-month lead time on.
Okay. I was just thinking, I mean, you know, just like the bucket truck, I mean.
We've
we don't
been-
have to
we've
pay-
definitely been looking
We
at
don't
it.
have to pay for it till we get it, you know, but,
But it's a 2-year wait, you know.
right, if anything needs approval or need to,
Big show's coming up this next week on the latest and greatest of all the equipment there at the Perry Yards.
That you can't get for another 2 years.
That you can't get, but you can get promises on lead times. You can get promises.
Any other discussion, any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, item D, we don't need, or do we need an executive session?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that we're aware of. Commissioners, if all hearts and all minds are clear, we'll adjourn this meeting, meeting adjourned.